Hello and welcome to another episode of the Voices of the Vic podcast with me, Mike Duffy, sponsored by Beer 52, where if you fancy a free crate of beer where you only have to pay the postage, visit www.beer52.com/Vic, VIC. And today I'm joined, if you're a regular watcher or listener of the show, you'll recognise the chap alongside me. It's Jack, who's a Preston fan, and he was on the last time we played Preston back in December now. Jack, thank you very much for joining me. How's things been? You all good?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being on the show. I'm going down to the game on Saturday. It's a big day for North End supporters, with it being Gentry Day. So I think
Yes.
I may be going suited and booted. I'm definitely taking my bowler hat. So looking forward to the day out.
Yeah, one of my close mates from Birmingham's a Preston fan, and he told me that it was that special day. I'm glad you reminded me actually, because the questions I've got doesn't actually mention that. For those that are listening, thinking, "What the hell are you going on about?" What is that day, and what does it mean to Preston?
It's a day that North End supporters come together to kind of respect the past and the present of Preston North End. I think it was. I mean, obviously this was before my time, but I think the tradition of the day comes from. I think it was one of the managers referred to Preston North End as the Gentry. It's kind of saying the supporters were the Gentry. They were the gents of the Football League. And ever since then, we've kind of had a day, an away game that has been chosen. Typically, it is, I mean, last one was in Middlesbrough, but typically quite a large part of them have been down in London. And we go out and we'll take our bowler hats. Quite a lot of supporters will go out suited and booted, kind of dressed as you kind of old school gentlemen. And we celebrate the people that have passed through Preston North End in terms of supporters. And it's a good time for North End supporters to reflect. And it's just a really good time, and it's a special occasion for us as North End supporters, and an extra occasion a lot of the time where we haven't in the last 9 years or so had a lot to play for. Come this end of the season, perhaps this year we do, but it's nice to have a little send off away from home, because we've always got good travelling support.
Yeah. Do you know if you've sold out for this Saturday, or are you close to?
I don't think so. We sold a lot because I was getting a ticket for a girl that's driving us, and I was rushing to get her a ticket a few days ago. So I know that we are close to selling out. I'm not totally sure on the allocation, but we are bringing a good following.
Okay, so it'll be one of the smartest away ends I think Watford fans will be used to in recent times. So yeah, that should be something to look forward to if you're going to Vicarage Road and wondering why there's so many smartly dressed people. As I said, you were on this podcast last time round, and we last met in December. Now, Watford did come out on top. We won 5-1, but to be honest, I mean, Preston. I was at the game, and Preston very much dominated the first half, and he obviously went into the break winning 1-0. Will Keane scored. I remember after the game, and I think the game after us, you lost, but then you beat Leeds at home the game after that. But for certainly after our game, and then the game after, there was a lot of talk about getting rid of Ryan Lowe. Despite the fact that you were sitting in 8th at the time, like when we beat you 5-1, we jumped up to 31 points, either 2 points or 1 point behind you. But would you say things have picked up and been a little better since then?
Yeah, they absolutely have. We went for a really sticky patch in the middle part of the season, because we made that fantastic start to the year where I think we won 7 of our first 8 or 6 of our first 7, and we were top of the league. We're flying high. I think obviously losing 5-1 at home to any side contributed to a bit of negativity, and then the following game we went to Swansea, we conceded a last minute goal there, and after that the whole social media and going to games as well had become a bit of a cesspit in terms of people wanting Ryan Lowe out. But definitely over the last couple of months, I would go back to the 13th of January when we beat Bristol City. Since then, We've only lost 3 of our the last 12, so we've definitely picked up, and a lot of wins in that time as well. So it's got us on the periphery of the playoffs. So he's definitely got the backing of the supporters once more. But I think it's like at any fan base, it isn't a criticism of supporters. This, and I don't mean it to be, but any fan base, you've got people that are just going to panic after a run of results where you're on the rough end. People will point out statistics that don't look so pretty, and perhaps won't point out those statistics whilst you're doing well. And I think it's natural, especially social media, it's natural for people to criticise rather than to praise, because you're going to pick up more algorithms and more interactions by kind of having a negative point of view than a positive point of view. And again, I don't mean that to come as a criticism, because I would say I was very vivid in my backing of Ryan Lowe. I wanted him to stay. I said we need to see it through. I think after that Swansea game, we were still mid-table, whether it be 11th, 10th, 12th, 13th, 14th. It's mid-table, doesn't really matter. And I thought it definitely does not necessitate a sacking for a club like Preston North End. And thankfully, he has picked up. But listen, that comes once or twice a season, especially when you're a mid-table side, because you are going to go on bad runs. And some people would, I'd probably have a sit down and have a beer with the Pozo family, because they would agree that you can churn out 2-3 managers a season and expect results, where I'm and others are of a different thinking. And I think you've just kind of got to ride out rough moments, especially if you're not you're not staring relegation in the face. You've got to give young managers time to turn it around, and thankfully Ryan Lowe has, and we're in 8th place, which I don't think any PNE supporters would have expected us to be at the start of the season.
Yeah, well, I mean, patience is a virtue, and believe you me, mate, I think a lot of Watford fans were hoping. Well, I say that actually, a lot of Watford fans were hoping at the start of the season that Ismail was going to be the man to ride out a full season, and he's certainly been one of the managers recently who's been given more of a backing in the Potso era compared to previous managers. And then things started to go a bit sour. We obviously started the season brilliantly, 4-0 win against QPR, and then it was sort of, we've only won 2 or 3 games and the season's going on. And then we obviously came to your place, won 5-1. Then we were back in Lancashire the next week, beat Blackburn 2-1 after going 1-0 down again. And there was a bit of a feel-good factor around the place, and we went on this really good run, and we were sort of maybe looking at sneaking through the back door of the playoffs, and then things went to pot again. So, yeah, I understand the whole wanting to ride the bad results out, and, Ryan Lowe has been a prime example of sticking with a manager, riding it out and still being, up there. Unfortunately for us, the Potsos just get an itchy trigger finger and just... Yeah, Ismail was gone. And to be honest, yes, I'm disappointed he didn't see the full season out, but I think it was warranted, to be honest. And I think, as you say, so many times in previous seasons where who knows what would have happened if we'd have ridden it out with a manager going through a bad spell. But unfortunately, if you're a manager, you don't get the luxury of that at Watford. But something you mentioned, obviously, at the moment, you're sitting in 8th place. You've picked up a further 27 points since we last met. So that means you're on 59 points. You've got a game in hand over Norwich, who are occupying 6th at the moment, and you're 5 points behind them. Are you still gunning for playoffs, or is that dream over now? Now, the only reason I'm asking that, as I mentioned, I've got a very good friend who's a Preston fan, and he texted me after the game on Saturday where you lost to Birmingham, and he said that's it. Or he might have texted me a couple of weeks ago, actually, saying that he thinks that's it now for the playoffs. It's over. Is that the general feel about the place, or is the feel still, no, absolutely, we got a game in hand, win that, we're 2 points behind. Are you still feeling confident about getting the playoffs?
I'm not so sure about confidence kind of resonating around the fan base. I think there is quite a lot of supporters like your mate from Brummy, and I can see why they're of that thinking, because you do need to kind of to get that 6th spot now, being 5 points behind and having our running. We have got still Southampton, Leicester, West Brom to play, so and Norwich as well at home. So you've kind of got to put a string of victories together. So I can certainly see where he's coming from. But, we go beat Watford, we go beat Huddersfield. We probably, if we win the next 2, then that Norwich game becomes huge. And realistically, we probably should be beating Huddersfield at home, and Watford, we've kind of, I assume now, you've had a little pick-up with Tom Cleverley, but maybe kind of on the beach, maybe putting your sandals on, starting to think about putting your sandals and sunglasses on, because you're starting to come out of it with no real danger of relegation, and you're not going to get the playoffs. With it being a bigger game for us, potentially that is one that North End kind of need the target to get 3 points from. So if we can come away 2 wins, then that Norwich City game becomes massive. So you never know. People would have written us off after losses in December. You never know. And the positive that we had on Easter Monday was that, yes, we lost against Birmingham, but Coventry lost, Norwich lost, Hull lost. So no one gained ground on us. It just stayed exactly the same. So it was a missed opportunity. I can see where the frustration comes from. But I think if you make and a lot of other supporters kind of reflect over it today, tomorrow, heading into the game on Saturday, we'll probably think, this Watford game is still relatively big, because we win there, the dream's still alive. So it's anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, this is it. The Championship, as we've seen at the moment, I feel like a lot of people say this every year, but genuinely, the Championship just gets better and better season upon season. I mean, who'd have had Leicester throwing a 15, 17 point gap away on their bingo card? Like, it's absolutely crazy. And the fact that they're now 3rd, so they might not even go up automatically, is crazy. But just going back to the last game, I mean, I usually ask who sort of Watford fans need to look out for. Now, the obvious one would be Will Keane. He scored 12 goals. You've got is he a Danish lad? He's got 7 assists. I think it's mad something. But someone who personally impressed me in the reverse fixture was Liam Miller. And his ability to get the ball into the box, to put the ball on a sixpence for whoever it wants. And that's why I think I was so confused that Will Keane got dragged in the last game. I mean, he'd scored against us, and he seems like someone that's quite a physical presence. So if you've got someone of the capabilities of Liam Miller who can get the ball in there, Will Keane seems an obvious choice for me to keep on if you're trying to chase a game. Has Liam Miller continued to impress, and is he still one of your big threats, or would you go someone else and be like, no, you boys need to watch out for this guy instead?
Yeah, he's been fantastic, Liam Miller. Hasn't played the 2 games over the Easter weekend because he's been away with Canada on international duty. So he came on in the last, was it 25, 30 minutes against Birmingham, and made a decent impact. But no, he's a good player. I think potentially if he plays this weekend, he'll probably play out on the right-hand side rather than left wing back, because Robbie Brady has been in inspired form. He was probably our best performance in a real drab performance at Birmingham City. So potentially we'll see Liam Miller move out to the right because Brad Potts is still injured. But I think if there was one man that I mentioned as kind of the danger man, I think it would be Mads Frokja. Ever since he's come into the games, team. So in January 13th, the game I was referring to, where the season kind of turned, him and Emil Rees. I can't remember. Emil Rees definitely came on at half time. I can't remember if Frokja came on at half time. I think they both came on at half time, 2 Danish lads. And since then, they've just been fantastic. Rees has been banging in the goals, has looked lethal in front of goal. But it's Mads Frokja, the sort of like puppeteer behind him, that just every time he gets the ball, he's just so graceful. And you can see that if he continues to develop and progress, he's not going to be at Deepdale much longer. So he's definitely, I think, the player to kind of watch out for from your perspective.
And where does he operate? Where's his best position?
He plays in the 10, so he plays behind the 2 strikers. But despite sometimes he's an elegant player and a bit of a flair player and maverick, but does work hard as well. He will get stuck in, and he likes to enjoy that dirty side of the game as well. So he's definitely one to watch out for, and one that I think will, if he's performing, because he didn't perform against Birmingham, but if he's performing, North End's chances of winning just go up and up and up, because he's such a fantastic player.
Yeah, it's could be some battle then if he's quite physical. We've got Wesley Hoot back from suspension. He played against West Brom. Ryan Porteous, he's not shy of diving into a tackle, and Francisco Sierralta. So it could be some battle on Saturday. But obviously, coming to Vicarage Road for this game, you've highlighted the importance of it. Now, Watford haven't won at home since the 28th of November, so we're yet to win in this calendar year at home, which is it's definitely the worst home record I can remember for some time, and that includes the season a couple of seasons ago when we were relegated from the Premier League. Preston on the road this year have picked up 25 points from 19 away games. What differences can we expect to see, like seeing Preston at home and then seeing them away? Is there a big difference in the style of play, how you operate? What's obviously you're coming into the back of it off a 1-0 loss against Birmingham City, but believe me, we've been there. Gary Rowett's first stint at Blues, his first home game was against us. We lost 2-1, but we went up that season, so we know all about being shithoused against Gary Rowett's Birmingham side in his first home win, first home game. So, yeah, how do you expect to, like, what do you set up like away from home?
Well, first on Gary Rowett is an absolute horrible manager to play against. Preston North End have played Gary Rowett 14 times, and we've never beaten Gary Rowett, which is unbelievable. And I think that's when he was probably the number one name on most people's shortlist when people are saying that Ryan Lowe potentially should go. Most people are saying Gary Rowett, because we've never seen him have a bad performance. He's just a horrible, ugly manager that